Patrick Dugan is back on the ballot for Philadelphia District Attorney, this time as a Republican candidate. Judge Dugan, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Corey. Looking forward to speaking to the PCN audience once again.
Tell us why you decided to come back and run in the primary this time.
Well, as many people know, I lost the Democratic primary to Mr. Krasner in May, and the Republicans on their own did a write-in campaign because they saw that that worked in Pittsburgh last year. They didn't have a candidate. They wrote me in. Nearly 7,000 people, Republicans, wrote me in. So I won the Republican nomination. After the primary, I'm sitting there thinking what I should do. I got people calling me everywhere I go, whether it's in Philly or down the shore. People are saying, please run, please run. We have to stop what's going on in the district attorney's office. I thought about it. I talked to my family. I talked to many people. And I said, you know what? I have to give Philadelphians a second chance to get it right. Because in the primary, there was only 16.61% of eligible voters came out. There are now an extra 250,000 eligible voters in the general election. So it's basically give the city a second chance, let democracy work. Nobody should be unopposed in the general election. So yes, I stepped up once again. I am the Republican nominee, but I'm still a registered Democrat. I'm actually an independent Democrat who is running as a Philadelphian. I'm not running for parties at all, not the Democrats, not the Republicans, not the independents. I'm running for all Philadelphians so we can bring back some common sense in our district attorney's office.
What would you say to those who say that you misled them or you turned your back on the Democratic
I would say that's pretty much hogwash. There's a second chance. I didn't do anything illegal. And again, there's an underground movement saying we have to stop this far left and far right politics. So here I am, somebody more in the middle, like about 85% of our citizens in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia, in America. So I'm here trying to bring some common sense back to the district attorney's office. And again, this to me has nothing to do with party politics. It's all about the safety of our neighborhoods in the city of Philadelphia and those grandparents who can't sit on their steps anymore out in our neighborhoods because of how unsafe it is. We need to bring back some sanity to how we handle crime in the city of Philadelphia.
Are you getting support from the Republican Party? I mean, that's why you're there, but you say you're running as an independent Democrat or an independent. Are you getting support from the Republican Party?
I am getting some support from the Republican Party in the city of Philadelphia. They're mobilizing their people to come out and help. But I also still have a hardcore group of Democrats who helped me in the springtime, who are out there motivated, volunteering. So it's a big tent for me. And I'm asking everybody out there to come join this unity tent, whether you're in the Forward Party, the Working Families Party, you're an independent, you're a Libertarian, a Green Party, a Democrat, a Republican. This has nothing to do with politics. This is about having an office that actually can walk and chew gum at the same time, give people who have a bad day a second chance, but also to hold violent criminals accountable, which is not happening and hasn't happened in 8 years in the city of Philadelphia.
You mentioned that you still have a lot of support. Did you lose any of your endorsements or any of your backing, say, unions or prominent politicians?
So I had many unions supporting me in the springtime. I did lose one, a pretty big one. That was the laborers under Ryan Boyer. He withdrew his support. But in the building trades, I still have a lot of heavyweights. I have the sprinkler fitters, the steam fitters, the electricians, the Teamsters, and so many more the transportation workers, the firefighters, and they're supporting me still because, again, it wasn't about political party in the springtime. It was about the safety of their members on the job sites, the safety of their families members who want to continue to live in Philadelphia. So there's so many unions, and I know I've forgotten quite a few, but that are still backing me, and I'm very proud to know that they are still with me. In terms of elected officials and all, I'm obviously the Republican elected officials. I can tell you that almost every elected official on the Democrat side has said, Judge or Pat, I'm still with you, but they're not coming out publicly because of the way party politics works. It's unfortunate that they're afraid that something, nefarious might happen to them, but to a person, they say, I hope you win. You got my vote, but they just aren't coming out publicly. We need more political courage in our system today.
One more question along these lines. How do you feel about the primary system in Pennsylvania with them being closed primaries?
Well, I think it's broke. I think the way the closed primary system works, it caters just to the Republicans and the Democrats, and it shuts out hundreds of thousands of voters across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and in Philadelphia. In Philadelphia, we have over 140,000 people who are registered independent, yet they cannot vote in our primary. That's not fair. I think what happens throughout the country with this two-party primary where you got to be either a D or an R to get involved, we get extremist candidates in many, many instances from the far left and the far right, when the vast majority of us are more in the middle, yet are kept out of this system. The hardcore people on the left and the hardcore people on the right, the ones with the biggest voices are the ones who come out. Everybody else basically stays home, and that's a shame. So I'm for open primaries in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, absolutely, so we're not disenfranchising so many of our eligible voters.
You've mentioned, you said earlier, the reason that people are backing you is because they want to keep violent criminals accountable. What is the role of district attorney, and what would you bring to that you don't feel is currently being done?
Well, the first thing, and it is quite simple, I will prosecute criminals, especially violent criminals. As a judge for 17 years, I was one of the most forward-thinking judges that we've had. I've led the nation at times in restorative rehabilitative justice. What that means is you do wraparound services and you help that guy who's having a bad day and hold them accountable, but give them the tools to succeed. And I've been in charge of programs like Veterans Court. We started in 2010. Our recidivism rate was less than 10%. So that means 90 out of 100 people came, did well in our program, and didn't come back to the criminal justice system. That stuff is unheard of in the criminal justice world. So I believe in things like that. I went into the prisons during COVID to handle cases. We couldn't get the defendants, the men and women who were stuck in jail during COVID. We couldn't get anybody to bring them down because of COVID. So I put a mask on and I went into the jails to handle their cases. We piped in via Zoom and TV, the defendants and some of the attorneys, but I went in there to handle these cases to dispense justice. So I'm willing to go the extra yard to give people that second chance when they've earned a second chance or they're willing to work at it. But I'm also telling you that guy running around with a gun, putting a gun to somebody's head and carjacking you, or going into a store and shooting the owner to steal the money, I'm going to hold them accountable the first time, not the third or fourth time, when by then they have a couple bodies on their belt. We can't have that. Those violent criminals have to be dealt with the first time. And yes, if there's an opportunity to help people, we're going to help them. But my main focus on violent crime is going to be stop the criminal and punish him, but also have some empathy and compassion, and believe it or not, communication with our victims. So many victims have told me and have told reporters that the current district attorney's office fails to communicate with them. And I can give you a litany of examples, including police officer Wilson, one of our hero police officers who was killed in a GameStop a few years back, that Mr. Krasner's office did not communicate with his family nor his partner, who was also a victim in that crime, did not communicate with them about the plea deal that they were making with the defendants. They have an obligation. The district attorney's office has an obligation to communicate with victims. And so many times they fail to do it. Everywhere I go throughout our city, I have victims' families and victims come to me and say, "Hey, Judge, hey, Pat, the district attorney's office did not communicate with me or my family despite us being victims." And that has to stop. That is one of the first things I will do when I become the district attorney, is make sure my assistant district attorney's officers know how to communicate with victims.
Talk about what you bring to that position, having been a judge. What's the perspective that you bring to it that someone who was just an attorney wouldn't?
So as a judge, I get to call the balls and strikes. I get to make the judgment call, and at hundreds of times a week. And I feel that I bring common sense. I'm a local Philadelphian, been here my whole life, other than my military service, which was over 23 years. Served 5 years overseas, including some war zones. So I bring that, I'm a regular guy to the aspect of being a judge, but I'm also have been an attorney and a judge. So I can bring some common sense. I can bring the law to it. I can see through it when it's a good guy who had a bad day and perhaps deserves a break. But I also know that as a judge watching and being part of this system for 17 years, that we need balance. We need somebody who's going to defend the defendant, and we need somebody who's going to represent the Commonwealth, the law, and the victim. And that has ceased in so many cases over the last 8 years, which was enough to make me resign from a job that I loved. A municipal court judge in Philadelphia. I love my job, but I was so frustrated by what I saw from the bench that I stepped down to do this, to run for district attorney, to help turn around the tide of justice not happening in the city of Philadelphia. Also, as a municipal court judge, my peers, so we have 27 judges on municipal court. My peers elected me to be the president judge. So for 5 years, I was in charge of municipal court, budget of over $10 million, over 250 employees, hundreds of thousands of cases a year, considering traffic, small claims, and criminal court. So I oversaw that from 2019 to 2024. So I have CEO experience, which is one of the things that's lacking in the district attorney's office, is the mismanagement. And that's not my words. That's people who leave the office telling everybody that. So I bring that experience to the district attorney's office, as well as somebody who, when he raised his right hand, as a soldier and as a judge, I live up to that oath. The oath is about integrity and honor, and that's what you're going to get with me as the district attorney.
Tell us about the municipal court. What kinds of cases are there? What's the caseload like? What were your responsibilities?
So as the actual judge, there are 3 divisions that municipal court have. We have traffic court, where we send 1 or 2 judges over each week to handle the traffic court cases. We have the civil courts, which are landlord-tenant, small claims, and some code violations with the city. And then we have the criminal division, which are all misdemeanor bench trials, where just the judge handles the trial, and every felony preliminary hearing. We do all those, plus any summary offenses, which is the bulk of what we do in terms of where the majority of our judges. We have 4 to 6 judges who sit in civil, depending on the day, and then we have the rest of our 20 some judges who sit on the criminal side. So that's where I was at. The majority of my time was spent when I was sitting as the judge. I probably 50% of my time I was in the homicide prelim room, where I saw almost half of the allegations of murder came in front of me for the prelims. So it's a very rapid fire kind of bench. Previously, before Larry Krasner took office, we had so many cases. We would run 50 to 60 cases per day in our criminal courtroom. And when I resigned last year, we were down to like 25 a day. So yeah, the numbers are down because the arrests are down, because the police found that if they make an arrest, Larry will not charge them, will not send the case to court. And despite those numbers being so low, one of the things that happened in municipal court is the criminal cases, even though the numbers are lower, over 70% of those cases were withdrawn by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the district attorney's office, meaning 700 out of 1,000 cases that were actually charged. At some point in the early part of the stages of the case, the DA did this and said, never mind, we're not going to prosecute it. So I guess that's how he could say crime's down. Well, crime's down because he's not preferring charges.
So you mentioned how the police will react to the policies of the DA's office. What should that relationship be between the district attorney and the police and the mayor? Because the district attorney is independent of all of them. But what should that relationship be? And what would it be with you there?
With me, it should be a partnership. We have two forward-thinking leaders in the city of Philadelphia. That's our mayor, Sherelle Parker, and our commissioner, Bethel. Commissioner's Bethel, his background obviously was a long time police officer, leadership, and then he took over. He was helping out the schools, and he brought all kind of innovation into the school system, trying to make sure those kids are walk the straight and narrow. And he's got these ideas to continue that. The mayor, she ran on the platform, we need to be tougher on crime. And frankly, there's one partner who's missing, and that's the district attorney's office. At a quasi forum in the springtime, the question came up about the mayor's new office of public safety, that there's a gentleman by the name of Adam Greer who worked for Larry Krasner but now works for the mayor. And when that subject was brought up about the cooperation between that office, the mayor's office, and Larry Krasner, he got all upset and said, I don't work for the mayor. And and it was like, I said, you don't have to work, but we need to work in conjunction. You don't work for her, you don't work for the commissioner, but we have to work together so that our policies and insights might be able to help us. The issues that we see up in Kensington, where the mayor and Commissioner Bethel have Plan A to go in there and attack what's going on up there. The only reason it hasn't worked better is because Larry Krasner's office is not cooperating with them. And they're not publicly saying it, but all somebody has to do is read between the lines and you can see it. I mean, in the mayor's budget address, she did not mention the district attorney's office once. So I know that there is tension, that he is not helping or he's not cooperating with what their plans are. We have to work together. We don't have to agree on everything, but we have to listen to each other and see if we could help each other. And that's not happening as far as I could see.
You mentioned diversion programs from your time in municipal court. Is there an option for that as a district attorney? Is there something you would implement when it comes to diversion programs?
So what I would do is I would reach back to the courts, the public defender, the police department, everybody else, and form that partnership again so that we have cooperation with all our criminal justice partners with diversion programs. What's happened in the last 8 years is we had some nationally acclaimed programs in the city of Philadelphia through municipal court and the Court of Common Pleas. Veterans Court, Dawn's Court, Mental Health Court, Drug and Alcohol Treatment Court, Alternative Misdemeanor Program. So many great programs that science and statistics were showing us that they were working. For example, Dawn's Court, which was for prostitutes. In 1 year, we had 18 women who came through the program and they had drug-free babies. That's unheard of for people who are addicted to fentanyl and heroin when they're pregnant to then have a baby that's drug-free. These were some of the programs that we were doing. When Larry became the DA, he obstructed diversion programs. You would think he's self-titled the most progressive DA in the country. That's BS. He's actually more for anarchy, and he has destroyed and obstructed these programs, yet he gets out there and he talks, and he's full of it. The statistics show that he doesn't support these programs because he doesn't believe in arresting anyone. But I definitely want to bring back diversion programs at a higher level, put them on steroids to help our citizens who need help.
What do you think the job of the DA is? Outside of what may be written in the city charter as chief law enforcement or prosecutor, what is your take on what the job of the Philadelphia District Attorney is?
I think the job is to uphold the law with some common sense. There are laws on the books that the district attorney's office should prosecute, but you also have to interject compassion and empathy for all sides. So it's for the victim, the witness, the family members. We also have to look at the defendant as well. What's the defendant's history? What's the root cause of why that person's there? If it's violence and they're going around hurting people uncontrollably, then they need to be dealt with sooner rather than later. So we need to uphold the law as a district attorney, but walk and chew gum at the same time, help people get back on the right path. I have no problem at all with doing that, but we have to enforce the law and protect our citizen and make sure that our families can let their children go to the corner store without feeling that something's going to happen to their young person. Let them go to the playground so we don't have all these shootings that we have out there. We have to get out there and assist in making sure those bad guys aren't taking over our neighborhoods, which they have done. The district attorney's office is the chief law enforcement officer, and that's exactly what we should do.
What would you do on your first day? What's the first couple of things that you would change?
Well, the first thing I'm doing is I'm bringing every attorney into the office together. We're all going to raise our right hands and we're going to swear to our oath once again. And as I've always told young attorney, that oath belongs to you because so many of them have been let down the wrong path that they shouldn't be prosecuting certain cases. It's amazing how many of them are not prepared to come into court. So besides the oath, we're going to do a boot camp to retrain them because Larry Krasner stopped training his DAs to be effective district attorneys in the office. These are things that attorneys who've left the office has said. I will also recruit local new attorneys. So previously, Larry goes on a nationwide tour to bring all these new attorneys from all these fancy law schools, and they come here. He doesn't train them, and then they leave at over 78%. So 78% of the attorneys that he's hired from outside of Philadelphia, they leave. They don't stay. They're not invested. I want to hire new lawyers from Temple, Penn, Villanova, Drexel, Delaware, Widener, Rutgers, Camden. We'll go down to Howard University. I want to bring in lawyers who will stay invested in Philadelphia, but also lawyers who know that Broad Street is Broad Street. There's no such thing as 14th Street in Philadelphia. And too many of those outside folks who came to our city, they would stand up and say, Your Honor, so this happened on 14th Street. And I'd be like, what the heck is that? Talking about Broad Street, but they don't stay. so these are some of the things I want to do in the beginning. I also want to go back to geographic prosecution. On day one, Larry Krasner we had these 6 zones throughout the city of Philadelphia where the senior assistant district attorney was assigned. So you're assigned to the Northwest or the Southwest. And that senior assistant district attorney's job was to liaison with the local community, the wards, the PDACs, the civic associations, so that if there was a crime at the rec center or on the corner store, they would talk to the neighbors about when the next court date is so that you could get an answer directly from a DA on what's going on with that case. He brought them all in and said, we're not doing that anymore. The community's begging for it back. I'm bringing that back. Here's something else I'm going to do on day one. Larry Krasner's office quit the Pennsylvania Association of District Attorneys. He quit it. The biggest district attorney's office in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. They were the leaders of it. Larry said, I'm not going to be part of it anymore, and he quit. What happened with that is we used to have 2 representatives from Philadelphia in Harrisburg talking to the legislators, talking to the governor about what we should do with the criminal statute. Should we change it? Should we tweak it here, tweak it there? Larry pulled them back, withdrew from the District Attorneys Association because he didn't want to talk to people who might have a different idea. So he quit. We're rejoining that on day one. So I have many more things that I'm going to do as soon as I get in there.
All right. Well, we have about 1 minute left. Why don't you take that time to tell our viewers, the ones in Philadelphia, why they should vote for you this fall?
So Philadelphia, what I'm saying is you need to get off your couch and vote. Stop complaining. Everywhere I go, people come up to me and say, this guy's got to go. He's got to go. You've been telling me this for years. I got off the bench. I'm doing it now. So I'm asking you, I'm telling you, get off your couch and get out and vote. 16% voted. That means 84% stayed home. Get out and vote. And I also need your support. Judge Dugan for DA.com. I need you to help volunteer. I need help financially to put the message out there. So I'm saying, if you want to make change, Philadelphians, get off your couch and vote. I appreciate that, Corey, you had me here today. And again, folks, just get out and vote.
Patrick Dugan, Republican for Philadelphia District Attorney, thank you very much.